Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we're going to focus on paper pumpkin. So actually, I have the Adventure Begins paper pumpkin that I'm going to be sharing today. So I have a couple of projects that I put together using the exclusive stamp set from this particular kit. And so these are the projects that I'm going to share with you today that I put together. But I do want to just show you the paper pumpkin kit. So let me grab it here. So good morning. So these are the cards that actually came in the kit. So the kit was called The Adventure Begins, and it had these adorable little cards that had these little pop outs already, you know, put in there. So I didn't have to do anything except for pop out the little centers, but they were just really adorable. And they're kind of a fun fold card here. So I put together all of the cards from this particular kit. So here is the next one. Aren't they adorable? And then this one's really cool. I like this one. I like the trees. So these are the cards from the kit. There were four of each of these three designs. So there were quite a few cards in the kit. So what I thought I would do is just kind of stick with this little design here, kind of creating this little window in the card. And I created some additional cards using the stamp set from the kit. So I'm going to show you those. So these are the additional cards that I created. So I used one of the dies from the Hippo, I think it's Hippo and Friends die set to create my little windows. You can use any die that you have on hand. You don't have to have this particular die. So it'll work with circles or squares or whatever you happen to have on hand. So, and you can create these cards really using any stamp set that you have on hand. I just happen to be showcasing the one from the kit. So let me start out. We're going to start out with this one. I'll show you how to create this. Um, so what I did, and I already have my pieces cut out here. So what I did is just started with a piece of white cardstock for the base of my card. And then I just cut a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of designer paper. So I'm using some of the designer paper from the Beauty of the Earth designer series paper pack. So once I cut out my piece of designer paper, I took my die and just kind of laid it on the top part of this paper and then ran it through my embossing machine. And so that created these two little pieces. So the cool thing about this is that we're going to use this piece, this leftover piece, on the second card that I'm going to show you. But this first one is just we're just going to create this little window and we're going to do a little bit of stamping behind this particular window. So I'm going to grab my paper here. So in this kit, um, we got a little Stampin' Spot of garden green. So that's the color that I'm using today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp some of the trees. So the stamp set has, let me grab it here. The stamp set that came in the kit has a variety of different images in it. So I'm going to use the tree images to create the cards for today. So it has like a solid image and then it has a fun little overlay image that's really easy to use. So what I'm going to do is just ink up my tree. See if I can get it inked up here. And I'm going to do a little stamping off. Let's see if I can get a good image. And then I'm going to stamp behind this piece. So I like to just kind of line it up a little bit before I stamp. So hopefully I get a good image. You never know. And then I'm going to stamp one more. And I'm going to stamp this one down just a little bit. There we go. And then there's this little overlay image. And this I'm not going to do any stamping off with. I'm just going to use it as is. And we'll add these fun little designs in here to give our tree a little bit more dimension, I guess. So that's how you create this little section. And then all I did was just adhere this right over the top. So you could pop it up with dimensionals, but I just decided to adhere it straight down instead of popping it up with dimensionals. Oh, my glue doesn't want to work today. All right, so let's get this over the top. There we go. All right, so we can move this out of the way here. Let's bring back the regular card. So it gives you a nice little effect there. And like I said, you can use that with any stamp set. It doesn't have to be this particular stamp set. And then I just added a little bit of contrast by using the back side of the paper, the wood grain. So this is just a 3/4 by 4-inch piece. And I'm just going to add that right across the bottom. And then I did some stamping on another 3/4-inch piece. I just used one of the greetings from this particular set. And whoop. And then I'm just going to pop this up, and then we can cover up kind of this mess on the bottom here. And that's it. And then you can wrap a little twine around there and embellish it any way that you want. So it's a pretty easy card to make, and it's just kind of a different look by using the dies to create that little window. All right, so that is the first one. And then there's 2 other cards that I created. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this particular card. So you can use this leftover piece to create either one of these cards. So, I can add it here, and then I just added this little tree. There were some trees that came in the kit. So instead of adding the trees, I think the trees were supposed to go like behind here on this particular card. So I thought it had enough trees in the background. So I saved these little trees and then just used them to create the card. So this is just a quick and simple idea using that little tree. And then I also created a little window, except for this time I created the window right in the front of the card so that when you open up the card, you have that piece on the inside. And then I just used some leftover pieces that I had from the kit. So let me show you how I did that one. So basically what I did is I started out with the same type of thing, a piece of paper that's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So this happens to be a piece of paper from the Penguin Playmates designer series paper pack. So that's one of the free celebration items that you can get with a $50 purchase. So this actually has the penguins on the back, but I thought it was a really nice pattern that kind of went nice with this particular kit. So what I did is I actually opened up my card, and I just laid this piece of paper, the 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece, on my card front. And then I took this die and I cut out both the card front and this designer paper at the same time. So that way, when you pop this out, it leaves behind this piece of designer paper that matches up with our, the window on the front of the card. So it matches up perfect. And then you have these 2 leftover pieces that you can use for additional cards. So I'm going to set those aside. So we'll start, I'm just going to open this up. Let's move this out of the way. We'll start by just adhering this right over the top. So it's already cut out. I just need to adhere it So the only tricky part about this is lining it up. Lining it up as you're doing a live video. It's much easier to line it up when you're not live. All right, so put that on there. So we adhered that down. And then I'm just going to use my bone folder and just kind of crease this down a little bit. Okay. So now that you have that top part on there, you can take this leftover piece and you can, it should fit directly in here. So we're going to adhere this. Let's see if I can do it. We're going to adhere this right inside here. And see, if you use liquid glue, then you can kind of scoot it around a little bit. Hopefully I got that inside. And then it fits perfectly inside that little window. So you can have, you know, when you open it up, there it is. And you have this fun little shape that kind of covers the front. Okay, so that worked. So let's bring this back. So now what I did is I just added that little tree. So I saved one of these little tree images. If you don't have this set, you can, you know, use any kind of embellishment, you know, any kind of shape to add to the center here. Doesn't have to be a tree if you have something else. And then we're going to add another little greeting. Let me just get some dimensionals on here. So it's pretty easy to make window cards with any kind of shape, as I mentioned. And I'll add this right across here. Okay, so that's it. And then you can decorate it, you know, with whatever you want to use. Sequins, ribbon, twine, whatever you want to put on there. So it's pretty easy. I hope you thought that was pretty easy. Let me bring back some of these other cards here so you can see them all together. So I do have those leftover pieces from creating this window card. So, you know, you have the ability to stamp on this one and create, you know, some more trees. And then you have the ability to use this one to create additional cards. So those are the cards that I wanted to share with you. Just wanted to give you a couple ideas for using that particular stamp set from the, I think it was the June kit. I said July, but I think this was the June kit. Sorry about that. I'm ahead of myself. Let me bring back these other cards. So these are the cards from the kit. And then those are the alternates. So this month's kit is going to be really cool. It is the, let me grab it here so I can tell you what it's called. The Hope Box Paper Pumpkin Kit. So that's, you have to sign up by August 10th. So this one looks really pretty. I like the butterflies and all kinds of things that I kind of saw with that one. So that's this month's kit. So if you want to get in on that, you got to sign up by the 10th. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed these quick and simple little card ideas. And like I said, just feel free to use whatever supplies you have on hand to create your little window cards. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again next week. Take care, everybody.